Hey there, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. Today we are going to take a look at the Fusion Modulator Eurorack module from Synth. First, many thanks to Synth who sent me this so I could try it out and make a video about it. I've been interested in this module since quite a while, as I've been curious about the originator from this module, which is the envelope generator from the VCS3 from EMS, very rare and weird synthesizer. And since Synth made sort of their own version of this synth, which is called the Syntrix, I guess after they just wanted to make some of that circuitry available to Eurorack user. And so here it is, the Fusion Modulator, which is two modules that does the same thing. Two looping trapezoid envelope generator. So first, to give you a simple idea of how it works, I'm going to use it as a simple envelope. Okay, let's get out of the 100 grit, remove all the feedback. I'm going to make a very simple synth voice, angle grinder as our VCO, and the 100 grit will be our filter and VCA. Here we have the pitch going. I decided to use the Poly 2 so I can have at some point, without any hassle, the mod wheel and the velocity at the same time, putting both here and here. Okay, so now we have our basic drone. And we want an envelope, something to control the amplitude of the sound. This is where the Fusion Modulator comes into play. So we are taking our gate out here. Let's go to gate number 1. Put everything off. So everything's at 0. Even if it doesn't really look like it. But so here, I'm triggering from the gate. I'm setting this envelope on. So we'll take EG out 1, envelope generator 1, and send it to control our gain of the VCA here. I will use a lot of stackables because as in the VCS3 there was no patch cable, but it was using a pin matrix. And what's cool about the pin matrix is that you can route one signal to multiple places. And we are going to use those cables for this. Okay, so now let's control the gain. It's working. So here we have attack. Easy. And then decay. So this is not like triggered envelope such as math or the DUSG. It's really an attack, hold, and decay envelope, which means it takes time to get to its max level. It stays there at the max level, and then it goes down. Okay, let's control our filter frequency as well here. So you see it's quite easy to get simple and working envelope out of this. Okay, now let's use the other one in the looping mode. As long as off is set fully counterclockwise, fully clockwise, sorry, the envelope is not looping. And it will start to loop if you switch it on like this. Here you see it is starting to do something. And now we can use this as an LFO. I'm first going to send it, EG2 out, to the filter as well here. So here you can see the attack doesn't do much. It's because we need to set the on time according to the attack. And so this is what is special about those looping envelopes, is that they go up, they stay for as long as the on setting says it to stay here. Then they decay, and they stop for a while. So if you put off here, fully counterclockwise, you have a sort of a normal LFO. This is how long it will stay flat on top, which is already unusual. And this is how long it will stay off in between two cycles. Which is very unusual. It can be very fun. Let's make it a more percussive thing. If we add a normal LFO, it will be like this. And then we could only raise the decay and it's like boom, like longer and longer decay. But here we can have a short decay that stops. And just make that boom, boom. If you use it this side as an envelope, off needs to be at max so it doesn't loop. And when you send a gate here, basically the on switch doesn't do anything because it's replaced by the length of the gate you're sending. Okay, now let me show you some other tricks with it. It's that when you start to manipulate things, you can have a lot of weird interaction happening between the attack and on knob. So if you set long attack, here we have just the rattling, but it doesn't go that much high in voltage. By the way, they are sending up to 10 volts. It's like starting at 0, going to 10, and then back to 0. But here, if you start to play with this on switch while it's looping, you can get some very interesting shapes. Same with the off switch. Okay, let's write a little sequence now. Let's see how it behaves. So as I told you already, as those are attack, sustain, hold, decay envelope, they are sensitive to the length of the gate you're sending in. So let's make very short gates here using shift here. So 10% gates. So I can make more plunky sound. And if you send longer gates, you won't be able to hear that much of a difference. So when you are using those as envelope generator in a sequence patch, it's better to send the smallest gate you can if you want percussive sounds. Okay, so now let's remove that modulation. And make a slow LFO, so long attack, long release, long on. And this is going to be modulating the decay of this first envelope. This is starting to get quite funky. Let's route those two guys a bit everywhere and see what happens. you have at the same time the EG out, which is unipolar from 0 to 10 volts, and the bipolar out, which is like you would expect from an LFO, which means from 0 to +5, crossing 0, then -5. And you can use those in conjunction. So let's modulate some parameters with this. And let's use this one, the envelope, the bipolar one, to modulate maybe just a little bit of pitch. Going from there, what else can we do? What else is there here? There is VCA in, VCA CV, and VCA out, which means there is a VCA crammed in there. What are VCA good for? So I could, for example, very simply take the output of my angle grinder, put it in the in, take my output cable here. And now what's going to happen is that the VCA CV, when there's nothing plugged in, it is your envelope number 1. And this is how to apply it directly to the VCA. Let's remove that annoying vibrato. So here I'm using it for audio, but I already had my VCA over there, which was working fine. So let's go back to the way it was. You know what, let's explore this by making another patch. Okay, so let's start back from scratch. 1 volt per octave to the angle grinder. Let's start an envelope here. Good. Let's again send this here. And control here. So let's say that if I want this LFO to be sent to the filter, I could go like this, take the bipolar out, send it to FM1, and choose how much I want it. But let's say I want to control this first. I will send that LFO to the VCA in, take the output here, and send my mod message from the key step to control the CV here. And here we go. We could do with the velocity as well. Let's make it shorter. Let's make it long. If I hit slow, almost no modulation. If I hit hard, lots of modulation. Okay, let's go back to a simple sequence. Okay, now there's one more thing. It's the sample and hold. Also the noise, actually. So if we wanted to add some noise to this, we could mix the noise out in a mixer or something. Or we can actually use it at different place and see what it does. It's usually quite cool to modulate things with white noise like this. If you find that it's too much, use something to attenuate it before. It gives a little bit of edge to the sound, that's cool. And now we have also sample and hold here. Sample and hold out. So let's plug it into the filter frequency. So the thing as the sample and hold does have its own clock here. So it can be free running, like it is right now. You can control its level directly here. So you can send it to an non-attenuated input and directly dial in how much you want, which is very handy. But you could also want to synchronize it. And for example, if I want it, you can use the end of cycle here, which is the end of our envelope, and clock the sample and hold with it. So now I have a new random value every time the envelope finish, which is quite handy. Let's now modulate back the decay. We could also basically modulate the decay by the sample and hold. So we will have a random length every time. You can also plug whatever you want inside the sample and hold, because from the start it is the noise that's going into it. So we can have random voltages at the output. But let's say, let's do it. Let's do everything with the Fusion Modulator. And make a long LF4 like this. Let's make it longer. And I will send this to the CV in, so it would replace the noise. Right now we don't hear it because it's 10 volts. It was modulating too much. And now it's because the envelope was too long, so that we didn't have the end of cycle triggering the sample and hold. And here you can hear how this movement is modulating the filter, but in a stepped manner. Also, depending on the length of your envelope, the end of cycle will be different. So if you want every single hit to trigger the sample and hold, you can mult your gate. So it's quite cool to send like more cyclical thing into a sample and hold, as it makes it less random, of course. What did I forgot? Okay, here, let's stop the sequence. One thing I like about it is to use it to drive, actually, to be the gate sequencer. So you can make your rhythm here. And the fact the gate still goes to gate is important because it re-triggers it from the start. Which allows for sometimes very interesting and fun rhythmic manipulations. Let's start another batch.
Wow.
Okay, one last thing. Something I like to test the snappiness of an envelope is to try to make kick drum with it, one of those. So let's trigger 2 channels. This one will be our amplitude and this one will be the pitch. So we have this one controlling the VCA here. Sine output from the angle grinder going straight here. Maybe we'll use it later to color a little bit and give some punch to this kick. Now let's send this envelope here to control the FM of the angle grinder. Let's put everything at minimum. So first problem we have is that we need to make sure we hit very shortly, otherwise it just stays up. Okay, so as you can hear, it's not the snappiest of the envelopes. So here's one trick you can do with any envelope that has a control over decay or attack or any stages. If you want to make it exponential, because this one is linear, which means it is fixed triangle length. When you want something punchy, you prefer something exponential, like shock tooth style. So in order to do this, you need to mult the output of your envelope, send it to an attenuator, invert it, and send that back to control the decay. And the more you reverse it, the more exponential it will go. It will also shorten your envelope. This is normal, full exponential. Thanks for watching. See you next time. As always, I will put some of those sounds on Patreon. Many thanks to everyone who is supporting me there. Really makes a difference. Feel free to visit. You have the link in the description. Bye bye.